Today's news, Idol producer trailer, Zhang Yijing becomes a strict judge.
There is a new K-pop show out of China headed up by EXO Lay as a judge that is an idol-style show similar to Produce 101.
It's not a K-pop show, it's a MandoPop show.
Okay, so it's not K-pop exactly, but they look like K-pop idols. That's why we're talking about this, because there's so much difference between China and Korea, even though those countries can be perceived as similar if you're from a place like Europe or South America.
Well, it is mostly headed up by K-pop idols. You have EXO Lay, you have Jackson from GOT7 as one of the rap mentors, and you have two of the girls from K-pop, PRISTIN, and then the other one from a group that's a Chinese Korean group.
Comments, I know that you guys know. Anyways, this video is specifically geared towards Lay because he's being criticized for his criticism of some of the idols that aren't up to par.
He's the MC, okay? So he's the one whose words and what he's saying have the most impact, and probably Lay has the most impact in China out of all of these idols that are part of the show.
I hope that if you clicked on this video, you're still watching. I want to set the record straight right here. I love Lay in this, and I love EXO. I friggin' hate that some of you come to this channel think that we hate EXO or we shit on EXO, because I'm here to defend Lay's actions 100%. What better than to have one of the EXO members heading up a show that's going to be super popular with over 1 billion people in China? Because this guy knows what he's talking about.
He does know what he's talking about, and that's the one thing that I saw whenever I was watching the trailer, was that he was extremely professional. He was playing the Simon Cowell of the role, and he is the main producer of this show for the show visual purposes. So what he says really does matter, not only for on camera, but also his long-term career.
The main thing I noticed when watching it for the first time was how culturally different China and Korea are. I felt like when they were interviewing some of the trainees, they were talking back a little bit too much. Even if they're only slightly talking back, it's too much lip. Korean idols, I mean, we don't actually know what goes on super behind the scenes in the entertainment companies themselves, but when they have these idol shows, you don't see them talking like this. They need to, excuse my language, shut the f up, listen to what Lay's saying 100%, and if he says you're all C's, you're all C's.
Well, I get what they feel, and I have to admit that I personally have not watched a lot of Produce 101 or The Unit, or a lot of these idol type shows, just because that is not where my interest lies. But it's important to note that Lay is not choosing the winner. All he can do is say his opinion, give his professional reaction, and try to help the audience understand what goes into making an idol and what goes into being a good rookie.
As far as I can see, he's the best example of an idol out of China at the moment. GOT7's Jackson is out of Hong Kong. They're a little bit different. I mean, they're both Chinese, but they're not actually the same country. Lay actually said on the trailer, if you're not prepared well, what rights do you have to go on stage? One of the rookies reacting to Lay's criticism of him, I feel that teachers' scoring criteria for the group performance today weren't very accurate.
Of course they feel that way. This reminds me so much of whenever I was a very young person. I was part of a singing group that traveled around, and there was a lot of harsh criticisms, and I think that if you ever get any sort of head about you when it comes to singing and performing, it's very detrimental, and I feel like it's very good of Lay and the judges in general to be very harsh in the beginning. You gotta break somebody down completely in order to build them up as a performer.
Lay has trained under the very best in the world when it comes to what it takes to be a K-pop idol. China's standards for idol performance are not the same as Korea's. This is why Korea's risen up to the top in the world in this category, better than all the other countries. K-pop was modeled after Japanese J-pop, but if J-pop was as good as K-pop, it would still be up there, and it's not. K-pop has risen up past everyone. China's never going to get there either, and especially with guys' attitudes like this, you don't see Korean idols complaining on TV shows that the judging isn't good. Korean culture is to just be quiet. If you have some critical thought in your head, you just swallow it.
That is true. I also thought it was very interesting to see all the tears. There were a lot of people who were crying and bawling their eyes out.
Because Lay was telling the truth.
Yeah, well, it's hard. It's a harsh world. And honestly, if they're on this show, they are getting a propulsion in their career. They're getting a jump start.
That's right, even if they suck.
Even if they suck, at least they're getting noticed and they could possibly build off of something. I mean, look at all the people who don't actually make it into the top of the top group, because there's 100 people here and only 9 people are going to make it into the final group. Even those that don't make it into the top 9 could still make a career for themselves if they can stand out, if they can hold up to the criticism, if they can perform.
What is your guys' reaction to China jumping on the K-pop bandwagon, having a show like this? Comments.
I feel like we're seeing these a lot all over the world, these types of shows. This one starts airing January 19th, so if you're interested, that might be something to check out. I personally am really feeling for people like Jackson and the Cosmic Girls and the PRISTIN girl and Lay for having to whip these young guys into shape in 4 months.
It's a huge responsibility. I'm glad Lay is heading it up. He's the perfect guy to do the judging and give some critique. Comments, you guys. Let us know what you're thinking. Click the like button. Thank you for supporting us here at HallyuBack. Click the bell for notifications. Check out the link to KGAL and On Demand Korean. Don't forget to subscribe for more HallyuBack news. That's it. We're out of here. Hasta luego.
Bye.